Hey, this is Bert, and I've gotten a lot of requests after my Every Character in the Cantina video to show off some of my Cantina customs. So today I thought I'd do a little tutorial about how to make 4 of the Cantina Spacemen in the 3 3/4 inch scale. All this week on
No Skill Customs.
Now, of these 4 characters, only one has an official name that I've ever noticed, and that is the guy on the right, Danz Borin. So we're going to start with looking at Danz Borin and how I made my Danz Borin custom. The actor portraying Danz Borin is actually wearing a leftover costume from a Planet of the Apes movie. And so when they made a 3.75-inch astronaut Cornelius figure by Reaction Toys, I right away bought him so that I can make my very own Danz Borin figure. To make Danz Borin, you have to take off the Cornelius ape face head and swap that with a human head. So here I'm going to just boil it so I can pop it right out of there. I mean, you could conceivably just cut the head off, but then it makes it a little more difficult to put a human head in its place. I'm actually making 2 at a time here. Once you remove the ape head, you want to select a human head that will fit in its place. So what I look for is I look to see that the distance between the head and the bottom of the peg, this little, neck space here, that space is about equal. Because if it's too long, like this, the head will be wobbly and it'll wobble in and out. Unless you're just going to glue it, then it doesn't really even matter. In fact, sometimes if I'm just going to glue a head anyways, I'll just cut it right here, cut that piece off. But if you want it to be able to move, you want to find one that's kind of similar. So I have this generic Chapmay style figure, and if you look, that's about the same distance that you see on the monkey head, the ape head. Sorry. The next step is then you have to take your X-Acto knife and shave this space down. And what I do is I shave it at an angle so that it can go into the body a little more easily. When you boil and pop something, it's easy to pop it out, but then getting it back in is a different story. So I always take things and just angle them a little bit to make it go in a little bit easier. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to boil it and it'll pop right in. It might take a little twisting and turning, but it should go in pretty easily. Now, you don't really actually have to boil the figure's head all the way. It just has to be softened. You also need a different helmet for the Danz Borin figure, and I use a Rumslag helmet. And I'm boiling that so that it fits a little more snugly around the neck apparatus on the body of the figure. So after boiling the head, you can squeeze it and turn it right into that the hole in the body of the figure, and it'll fit on there nicely. And then also, once you've boiled Rumslag's helmet, you can use an X-Acto knife to kind of stretch it over so it fits where the old helmet used to go. And then you're ready to paint. I'm using Apple Barrel Colors Apple Country Gray 20526. It really matches the gloves on the figure pretty well, which I think is how it should look in the movie. I took a moment out while I was painting the helmet to paint the little buckles on his arms, just for greater accuracy. If you're painting the helmet though and you overpaint the gray and you get it on the black, rather than trying to wash it off or scrape it off or something, it might be easier just to repaint the black, which is what I did. Then after I painted the helmet gray, I just add a coat of gloss paint to it. If you want, you can cut out a clear piece of plastic and use that as a little visor screen. If you can see that it's really narrow here at the left and the right, and it's wider in the middle. And what I'm going to do is, rather than trying to glue it on there, I just tuck it in on one side, curl it, and tuck it in on the other side. So technically it's sticking out a little bit above the helmet, but it looks pretty good. Now let's take a look at the Silver Spacemen. And in fact, we actually use the same Cornelius Reaction Super 7 3.75 inch figure for those two figures. And all I did actually for the start was I took the helmet off and I spray painted the entire figure silver. Once you spray painted it silver, you need to paint the black details back on. There's the two rectangles on either side of the torso, and then little tiny black buckles that are on either side of the arm. I painted the zipper on this one. I'm not sure if I'm totally a fan. And then the other thing I painted is before I put the white helmet back on, I painted the black ring around its neck. In the episode of Get Smart, where they wear these astronaut costumes that were used in the Cantina scene, you can see the chief has red stripes on his arm. So I painted one of them with red stripes. Not necessarily sure they were there, but it kind of looks like one of the characters had red stripes. And this way the two astronauts look different. Now this character that many people call Cantina Dude or Cantina Spacer is wearing pretty much the same outfit as Boshek. And that allows Boshek to be an easy repaint if you feel like just painting the character. I went for a more super articulated version of the character because I came across a Bosk figure who also wears the same outfit as Boshek, obviously in the yellow instead of black. And since the Bosk figure was a little bit beat up, I decided he would make a perfect custom. So I began by boiling Bosk, popping off his hands, and then actually chopping off his legs because they pop off at the ankle, and I needed them to pop off right below the pants. His head pops off without boiling, and I found either a Clone Trooper head or a Jango Fett head and popped it on in its place. I can't remember which particular figure this is from, but if you look, he's got a very big opening at the neck, so it fits perfectly on the ball of Bosk's head. And then you can take Boshek's helmet and it fits snugly over top. Now I wanted this little neck detail, but putting the red ring from Bosk wouldn't allow the helmet to fit correctly, so I cut it off at the sides and just glued it right onto the chest. Now as far as the legs go and the hands, actually I think I took the feet and hands from a Power of the Force TIE Fighter pilot, because really what else are you going to do with that figure? So I chopped off the hands of the TIE Fighter pilot because he's not articulated there, and I dremeled holes to pop them onto the pegs of Bosk. For the legs, since the legs were chopped and not popped off, or for the feet rather, I cut off the boots of the TIE Fighter pilot, drilled a hole, and stuck a metal wire in there to hold it better. The final thing, Bosk has this really cool marking on the side of his shirt, his sleeves. This guy does not, so I just painted it black. So there you go, 4 custom Cantina Spacemen. I've got many more Cantina customs to share, so please like and subscribe so that you know when I share the next video. From simple repaints to resculpts and a couple hodgepodge figures that I've made here. We'll see you then.